She had us followed a few times. We always had to be looking to see who was around the corner. It was pretty scary.
Welcome to another video.
So hey there guys, and welcome to another video. This time I'm meeting with my friend, the one who appeared in the Legal Troubles video. And today he's going to tell you his story. There are quite a few details I got wrong, and also there are a lot of new facts that have come to light. So basically, I'm going to introduce you. This is my friend. He will remain anonymous for now. I'm going to start by asking you a couple of questions, alright?
Okay.
Now basically, as a result of what's happened here, you've ended up losing a lot.
Yes, I lost my job, I lost my apartment and pretty much my lifestyle. I've been here for 4 years, and yeah, after this problem I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have to leave, and yeah, it hasn't been a pleasant experience.
Right guys, before we continue with this video, there are a couple of things that I have to update you on. Number one, my friend and his girlfriend, the ones in this video, have already left China. Unfortunately, they had to flee the situation because it could not be resolved. Number two, unfortunately, one of the friends that this guy was staying at, because you know he got evicted from his apartment, he was staying with that guy and they followed him obviously. He's got people pitching up at his door at all times, knocking on the door, demanding money. So, you know, it's not 100% resolved. But anyway, my friend and his girlfriend are safe. Now, the point of this video is not to try and vilify Chinese people or China, but I have to make you all aware that there's this current thing happening in modern China which actually affects Chinese people more than foreigners, but it does affect foreigners as well who live here. You know, if you make the wrong kind of mistakes, you can get into this kind of situation, and that is the reason I'm actually putting this video on my channel, is to help people avoid these kind of situations. You see, because China's suddenly risen to this big sort of economic powerhouse, people see a lot of money going around and everybody's trying to get their little pot of gold, and people are very quick to try and extort and scam people. And I like to say it's part of the culture, although some of my Chinese fans are furious that I say scamming is part of Chinese culture. So let's just say it's a phenomenon that kind of happens here in modern China. And it's happened to quite a few people I know, including myself. I'll give you some very quick examples before we continue. Number one, a friend of mine once knocked an old lady off of a bicycle by mistake while he was riding his bicycle. And of course, while trying to help her, a crowd formed, the police got involved. He ended up having to pay 40,000 RMBs worth of medical bills for her. And she wasn't even hurt, you know, not significantly, a couple of scrapes or something. I myself once had a motorcycle parked in my parking lot outside my house. And a guy at night reversed into my bike, damaged my bike and his car. And the next morning I had the police pitch up at my door with the security from the whole local thing, and the guy demanding I pay for the damage to his car. And because my motorcycle wasn't licensed, it was just one that I was working on at the time, and I just happened to have it parked outside my house, I was now liable to pay for the damage to his car, which is ridiculous. Obviously I managed to bargain them down and point out the absurdity of the situation because I wasn't riding. But then the guy was saying, oh no, I was riding it and unlicensed, the bike's unlicensed, and you know, there were no eyewitnesses or anything, so we kind of had to settle, and I had to pay him about 1,000 RMB. But you know, silly things like this happen all the time, but specifically to Chinese people, they're the biggest victim group when it comes to these silly scams and sort of extortion things that go on here. Now, if this friend of mine had known not to do what he did, if he'd seen a video like this, he would have avoided the situation 100%. And that's why I'm putting this video out there, is for all of you guys to learn something. And instead of me just waffling on about it, we're going to carry on and let him tell you in his words exactly what happened, so that you guys can know what to avoid if you are living or traveling in China. All right, let's get back to it. Let's talk about the night in question. So you've been in this on and off relationship. Things had cooled down. She'd moved out. She was living with her sister or something, right?
She never lived with me, Winston.
She never lived with you. Okay.
She never did.
Okay.
She would stay with me for a couple of nights or whatever, and then just go off. that night, I don't know, I started noticing like weird behavior and her being a little bit more distant.
Right.
Which I said, yeah, sure. So at the night, I know I met,
Yeah.
and well, I know we started going out, and I started spending more time with her. So yeah, that makes me a scoundrel.
Yeah.
So,
Here we are. Okay.
so she would get something that I hadn't mentioned, was that she used to get, regardless, very jealous.
Right.
And she was very, very possessive. So that had a major role in what happened.
Okay.
She turns out to my apartment after me just not answering her calls and all that.
Sure.
And she noticed that there was music playing, and there were certainly people in the house, but I refused to open the door.
Mm-hmm.
She just breaks in.
Yeah, she broke your door.
She broke the door, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
She literally broke the door. She's come in and trying to hide,
Right.
trying to protect her, trying to talk her into sense and all this. She's screaming, where is this girl? Where's this girl? Where's this girl? She starts getting very aggressive, breaking stuff, and she starts losing it. Then after that, she gets even more aggressive, and she starts making threats. It's like, oh, you don't know what I can do to you. You don't know, the kind of, I don't know, the means that I have to harm you,
Sure,
basically. You know what I mean?
The connections that I have.
Yeah, connections that I have and all that. So in the end, me just trying to, talk her into sense, she starts getting physical.
Yeah.
She bites a huge chunk out of my arm, like literally, mate. The skin actually came off.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, it's a cut. No, the skin actually came off the arm.
Yeah.
Started scratching me and all this. And since my main goal is like, oh, whatever. It'll heal later. Trying to protect, because I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
I can sort of like, yeah, whatever she does to me is gonna heal eventually. But if she gets a hold of me, she'll hurt her,
Right.
a lot worse.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do that, and I'm not noticing that she has a free way to go into my bedroom and open one of the drawers
Okay.
containing both my passports. So she takes them.
Takes your passports.
Yeah. She runs away, and of course, I need my passport. One of the things of living in any country, not only in China. It's really good for people listening. Like you should have your passport.
Yeah. Make sure it's safe.
Make sure it's safe. Make sure it's safe, and not within the reach of a crazy woman.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Good advice.
anyway, she takes him. She runs away. I'm trying to wrestle my passports away from her. Biting, scratching, everything is going on. Finally, I get them. She tries to, they were in my left hand, so she tries to reach them over my right arm. I, of course, push her away, and as she's coming back, I just backhanded her, which was wrong, I know. After that, she completely changes, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. I have no idea of the trouble that I can get you into.
Yeah.
Anyway, I managed to push her out of the apartment. Just like, oh, whatever, lock the doors, ignore the further knocks and the doorbell. Anyway, she eventually goes away, and now her sister is involved, and she gets the police involved, and they take me away.
Right.
Yeah, I spend the night at the police station. All of them saying like, oh, you beat her up, you beat her up, you beat her up, and I'm like, mate, I'm hurt. You have no idea. There is an obscene amount of evidence that this was clearly a fight. She broke into my house and all that.
And this is when you start to realize that being a foreigner is a disadvantage in these kind of situations.
I would say so, Winston, because number one, well, the language was with me because I do speak.
Yeah, you speak Chinese
very,
well. Yeah.
Well, not very well, but
Well enough.
again,
I'd say.
it's going to be something that would allow you to explain what's going on. It was okay. They didn't do anything to me. They started telling me like, okay, you beat up this woman. I'm like, hold on a minute. Well, how about you hear the rest of the story? Anyway, the next morning, after being chained to a pipe and just like being in a very just horrid conditions, someone takes me out and they start telling me like, okay, I hope that, and this is where it all changes. I hope that you solve your problem peacefully. Please don't, don't give us more trouble. We want you to come to an agreement. We both agreed to solve it peacefully. That day, she said she started right away asking for money. That day, we're talking about the next morning,
So when did you pay her the first amount?
Before going out of the police station, actually, I asked to go to the bank and was like, you know what, let's do this in good
you
faith.
put down a 10,000.
Yeah. No. She said like, I need 10,000 to cover the hospital bills. I will explain what happens with that later.
Okay.
She said, I need 10,000 quiet. I said, you know what, screw it. Maybe if this is the way out of it, and I was genuinely concerned. Like, okay, at this point, I think, oh, she's still, a person who's just jealous, and this ended up happening. And if this makes her go away, then good.
Sure.
After the 10,000, she said like, okay, we're done. And I'm like, okay, on Thursday, we have to come back to the police station to sign a paper that says this has been settled. No further investigation is required. She said, okay. On Thursday, I go to the police station. She's not picking up her phone. She's not doing anything. She shows up with her sister and 3 other guys. So now she doesn't want that. She wants 20,000, and her sister wants 10,000. So anyway, she's asking for money. The police are telling me, it's up to you. Yeah. These guys are just constantly telling me, we're gonna have you followed. We're gonna, it's us. You dumb foreigner, whatever. We're gonna just give you so much trouble.
So they're just intimidating you.
So through intimidation, you end up agreeing, Winston. What would you do?
Yeah,
I mean?
I agree with you. Yeah.
I am a reasonably peaceful guy for the most part, and I just said like, okay, you know what? It's gonna put me into bankruptcy, but if it solves the problem, good. So we agreed on that. I told them wait until such and such date for the money to be deposited into your account. And so I did. Then I get, through, from that day when we went there to when I paid, there were multiple threats, you have no idea. And then people constantly texting me from random numbers saying things have changed.
Now your girlfriend is here. She's also anonymous, as you can tell by the mosaic over there. Now you apparently received threats as well. Let's start with this and we'll get into the story, but can you tell us about the threats?
Yes, so she somehow got my WeChat and she had been texting me. She told me she knew where I worked and she had people watching me, and she would make sure that I lost my job and that I wouldn't be able to work in the area again. She said that she knew where I lived and she would have me followed.
Yeah, that's pretty scary stuff.
Yeah.
And did she ever try and act on any of those threats?
Yeah, she had us followed a few times. We always had to be looking to see who was around the corner. It was pretty scary.
That is scary, and I mean that's another thing. When you're in a situation like that, you can't really rely on the police to do anything here, because they don't treat that as anything serious, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had the experience of them going to my place of work, and of course, like no boss of anyone would be happy with an employee bringing trouble into the place of work. So because of that, I've lost my job. So anyway, I go to the police station. I just say, let's do it in this way. I'll give you the money here and everything will be fine.
Sure.
I insist that we go to the police station because I wouldn't know what they would be able to do if I wasn't there. Yeah. So I go there, and this time around 10 people show up.
Wow. Okay.
Including her father,
Right.
other people that clearly knew her father, and they start saying we need at least 200,000.
So now it's basically just an extortion setup.
It is a very, very easy to identify sort of extortive pattern. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
But now that I think about it rationally and that I'm not intimidated, I'm not that scared anymore. I see it more as a wow, they just played you and they won.
Yeah.
Because by then, with many people just shouting at you and all that thing, you feel intimidated. It's not easy to just think rationally.
Especially
and
if you're just by yourself, you know, like, I
yeah.
understand.
And I was by myself the whole time, you know what I mean?
This is what everybody wants to know is, how did her family get a hold of your passport?
Okay. First of all, through intimidation.
Okay. So
No, not first of all.
the police had it. The police
yeah.
had it at first, right? Then you
Yeah.
went in there. They gave it back to you what, after you'd given the initial 40,000?
After we had agreed to
Settle. Okay,
Yeah.
they gave it back to you, and then you got what? Surrounded.
I am outside of a police station trying to say, okay, now it's time for me to go figure out what I'm going to do.
Right.
To just meet the terms of a settlement
Yeah.
agreement. And they have surrounded me.
Yeah. Like 10 of them.
Yeah, 10, I heard rough estimate 10.
Okay.
Could have been more, could have been less. Yeah.
Right.
But again, like all of them very menacing, pointing fingers at you, trying to sort of like just not allowing you to walk furtherly.
Yeah.
They go and say, we need your passport as a proof that you're going to pay us.
Sure.
Oh God, was I scared, you know? So yeah, I ended up like, okay, good, take it. After that, I just realized, you know, what I'd done.
Yeah.
And I called my consulate. I get all the advice that I could have gotten, and it was illegal. They can't do that.
Yeah, they can't take your
They
passport.
can't take it.
In the heat of the moment, under all that threat.
I didn't know that then.
Sure. I know what it's all about. It's happened to me. Yeah.
So yeah, but they never act alone, man.
Yeah.
Never.
That's something that everybody has to take from this, is that if you ever get into any kind of a situation here, illegal or otherwise, any kind of a fight, anything like that,
Yeah.
there will always be a crowd, like
Yeah.
one person against many, because China, like I've said before, has a very collective sort of a society, and they all
It's
band
a very swarm against the marked one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like they don't like to stick out, and whomever is sticking out, even not only against foreigners, it's
yeah, against Chinese as well.
against Chinese as well. Like they try to get as many people involved as they can.
Yeah.
They believe in strength being in numbers and stuff.
Yeah, they say the nail that sticks out gets hammered down.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah. Okay, so basically you've managed to resolve the situation. Now you've lost a whole lot of money. How much did you end up paying in the end?
Yeah, 46 plus all what's cost me, you know, that's lost me a lot of things. My job, my apartment, my life in China.
And they actually were trying to get 200,000 from you.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna get that.
No, of course.
But yeah, they still send texts, they still threaten, they still say, oh, you have no idea what we can do to you and all that.
Yeah.
Not only me, but like people that they know.
Yeah, your girlfriend.
Related to my girlfriend, a couple of other friends. So yeah.
It's terrible. So I'd like to finish this off. I'd like you to basically give some advice to any foreigner who's thinking of coming to China. Mm-hmm. What should they take away from all of this?
Okay. With pleasure.
Sure.
First, be careful of the people you meet. Most of them are lovely people. They will try to learn from you and all this. The girls as well. But you have to be aware of this. If you notice anything suspicious, if you notice anything that might suggest that they want money, something that you might not realize, like I didn't.
Yeah.
Please be aware that you're at a massive disadvantage. You're not fighting one, you're fighting many. I've met people who have lost apartments because of jealous girlfriends,
right,
or just jealous girls that they've been out with.
Right.
I've met people who have been beaten up because of this.
Yeah.
Just any way that they can harm you because they feel that
Slighted.
you should. Yeah, exactly. They feel scolded.
Yeah.
And if they can do it with money, that's their first option.
Right.
So yeah, thanks for listening.
I gotta say, guys, this is a very horrible situation that's happened to my friend here. I really feel bad. It sucks, dude. I really hope that this situation can open a few people's eyes and just basically help them out. And I wish you the absolute best with your new future life.
Cheers,
and,
man.
You know, I normally say to everybody out there, I say stay awesome, but I'm going to say to you this time, I want you to just stay awesome, mate.
I will indeed, Winston. Thank you, man, and thanks for the help. Thank you for listening and for watching as well. Make sure this doesn't happen to you, because seriously, it's really, really scarring.